Bro, quit your lip flapping and listen to me. You're gonna love this here Reaper.
Yeah, okay, well, I mean, I'll see when I get it.
There ain't nothing to see. It's gonna be your best and most favorite guitar.
Well, I don't know about that. That's a pretty tall order.
Order? Bro, this ain't no order. If you landed here, this guitar already been made.
Okay. Well, listen, I gotta go. Buddy's calling me.
Buddy, ain't that the dog? Finally, I've got a scarred Reaper to share with you guys. But it almost didn't happen. Sean from Scar My Guitar was like, bro, all you ever do are those 80s shred guitars. And I was like, what? I mean, come on, just look at all the guitars behind me. There's all kinds of non-shred guitars. He got you there, dude. Damn it! Oh, and by the way, thanks so much for using my toothbrush again and giving me your cold. You're welcome. So he was telling me that I'm not gonna like this guitar, and that's why he didn't send me one. But then after he sent it, he starts telling me how much I'm gonna love it. I'm getting freaking whiplash here. That's what you call a reverse vasectomy. You know, like when you say one thing to make the person believe the opposite thing. That's reverse psychology. Yeah, that too. I hate to admit it, but I think you're right. Yeah, he's like some kind of evil genius or something. Son of a... Well, there's still the issue of him telling me a big fat lie about this guitar. And then asking me to repeat that same lie to everybody watching. Dude, seriously? Yeah, and instead of telling you what that lie is right now, because let's face it, nobody would believe me, right? They're gonna believe Sean, scarred for life. I think what I need to do is to present the proof and then tell you what the lie is, and then that way, everybody's gonna believe me. Okay, well, good luck with that. Okay, you know what? Just get out. You're not helping anyway. Seriously? Okay, whatever. Alright guys, and now that I think about it, instead of saying it was a lie, I'm gonna change it to falsehood, because it's something that I think Sean believes, but I think I'm gonna prove to you guys that what he believes is not true, and that's gonna end up being a good thing. You'll see. So, guys, these scarred Reaper guitars, they have been around for a while. It's not a brand new thing. I just didn't personally get my hands on one until now. And even though I've seen a lot of other guys saying how great they are and they really love them and they sound good and they play good and whatever, I'm reserving my judgment for today when I actually get one in my hands and I see how it feels for me and how it sounds through my system that I play through. Now let's talk about expectations. Yeah, it's coming from Sean, Scarred My Guitar. I've known Sean for a long time. But the main thing, guys, as far as not expecting this guitar to be terrible, is the fact that these guitars are made by IYV out in Vietnam. And I have a lot of experience with them. They've made a lot of guitars for me. In fact, they're currently making me 3 more guitars. And so I know the quality of their work is really good. So I expect it to be along those lines. But that doesn't mean that I'm gonna love this guitar, because it really depends on the specs. What are the specs that Sean sent them? Because they're gonna build the guitar that you tell them to build, as far as, the whole construction, the neck, the scale length, all that stuff. It comes from the person requesting the build, and in this case it's Sean. And there's also the part where, once he receives these, he doesn't just ship them out. He does a complete once over on this. He completely levels and crowns and polishes the frets, which is really important, and they change the pickups. They take out the stock IYV pickups and they put in hand-wound Alnico 5 pickups from Sean's wife, Kathy. And honestly, guys, I have no idea what to expect from these pickups, because I've never heard him in person before. I've heard him in videos, but that is not the same as me plugging it in to what I usually play through and seeing how it sounds through my stuff. And that's what we're gonna do today. So I'm gonna take a real close look at this. I'm gonna maybe look at a couple of things that I don't normally look at because I really wanna give a completely thorough and honest review of this Reaper. And I'm gonna tell you guys, Sean would have it no other way. He repeatedly told me, if you like it, say so. If you don't, say so. I just want you to give a completely honest review. Well, except for that one thing that he wants me to tell you guys, but we'll get to that. So what we've got here, guys, is a mahogany body, mahogany neck, roasted Jatoba fretboard. And if you're thinking, well, that's kind of along the lines of like a Les Paul. Like, if you were gonna put this guitar in a category, like some very broad categories, this would be in the same group with the Les Pauls, based on what we're looking at here. So like the Les Pauls, it's got a scale length of 24.75 inches. And you got the two-piece tunematic bridge here. You've got the three-way toggle up here, just like on a Les Paul. You've got 4 knobs over here, 2 volumes, so 1 volume for each pickup and 1 tone for each pickup. Now before anybody starts thinking, oh, it's just like a Les Paul, it just looks a little different. No, actually there are some pretty major differences. And differences that might actually be improvements over that classic Les Paul design. So speaking of the 4 knobs down here, check this out, guys. Push-pull for each pickup, so you can split each pickup. All right, yeah, we've got a set neck design. Cool, right? But look at that cutaway, guys. Look how smooth that is. There's no bulky thing right there where the neck's connecting to the body. It's got a huge cutaway right here. And what that does is, especially for me, shredder guy, I can get up to that 22nd fret easily and comfortably, and there's nothing jabbing me in a hand. That's one thing that I hate about that classic Les Paul design, and they've improved upon that. Now when we come up here to the headstock, guys, we've got a real bone nut. We've got locking tuners from Artec. Really good tuners, guys, really smooth. The guitar stays in tune very well. Now we need to mention the headstock design, the shape, whatever. You might love it, you might hate it. What it's doing is it's bringing these strings much closer to being just a completely straight pullback, from the nut to the tuners, rather than, again, on that classic Les Paul design where the strings are kind of going out at an angle. Does that improve tuning stability? Possibly. Now how about the elephant in the room, guys? And I'm talking about elephant as in elephants are very heavy, and this guitar looks like it should be extremely heavy, right? Kind of thick, kind of bulky looking. When you think about Les Pauls, you don't think about those are really light guitars. So how heavy is this thing? Shockingly, when I hooked this up to my scale and lifted it up, you guys ready for this? 6.08 pounds. How is that even possible? Well, I'll tell you how. It's got a chambered body. So I guess in some of the earlier versions of the Reaper, there were no chambers. So those guitars, at least some of them, were quite a bit heavier than this one. And, for a guy like me, I don't like heavy guitars. I really don't. The lighter, the better. So 6 pounds or close to 6 pounds, that's great for me. And this thing is so light. It's so weird. You look at it and you're like, man, that thing's gonna weigh a ton. And you pick it up and it's like, whoa, hey, it's like feather light. So yeah, great job on that. Now I mentioned the pickups being hand wound by Kathy, Sean's wife. The rest of the hardware and the electronics, guys, it's all made in Korea stuff. I normally don't take off the control cavities and show pictures of that kind of stuff. It's kind of not my thing. But again, I wanted to do a more thorough examination of this guitar. So let's go ahead and take a look what's going on inside the control cavity right here. And you guys can see it's really clean looking. We've got full-size pots, very nicely done. All right, how about the toggle switch? Let's take a look at that real quick. So again, guys, same thing. Looks fantastic, very clean. So great job on that. And as far as the finish goes, you can see they're calling this one white. It's kind of a whitewash because it's a transparent finish. I think it's kind of cool because you don't see a lot of guitars out there with a transparent white finish like this. I mean, yeah, there are some, but you don't see it that often, so I kind of like that it's a little bit different like that. And we've got the binding going all the way around the body, around the neck, and around the headstock, and it looks to be like, I don't remember exactly what you call this, but like multiple layers with the binding, as you can see like the little black stripe in there. Now, one thing that I do need to point out, guys, if you look closely at the headstock, you will see like a little bit of like very minor finish flaws with those little, the little binding going on there. I mean, it's very minor. It's not surprising to me because with some of my other like IYV custom guitars, there have been like little minor finish flaws. So I've kind of come to expect that with them. It's not a big deal. It doesn't bother me. And guess what, guys? So yeah, I can see it right there, but hey, check this out. Oh, finish flaws gone. I don't even see him anymore. All right, guys. So I think we're at the point where I'm ready to tell you guys like what Sean said about this guitar that I just feel is it's kind of a falsehood and just not really true. And in good conscience, did I say that right? Conscious? Am I consciously awake? Anyway, guys, I can't state it to you guys as a fact because I wholeheartedly don't agree with it. But you know what? I said I was gonna prove it before I tell you what he said, because otherwise you're not gonna believe me, right? So I think what I need to do right now is I need to try to do a little shredding on this guitar, because it has to do with something about shred guitars, what he said, right? So I'm gonna see if I can do a little shredding on it, and then we'll come right back. I haven't played it yet, so I'm gonna plug it in. I'm gonna see if I can shred it, and well, you'll see. Let's see what happens. Check it out. All right, so yeah, I totally shredded this Reaper. You guys heard it, right? And for those of you saying, yeah, but dude, you can shred on any guitar. Well, I mean, there's some truth to that, but there are degrees of shreddability and there are degrees of like, well, how easy was it to shred on that guitar? And that's an important factor. And to be able to shred comfortably for me on any guitar, I need a neck that is not too thick and bulky. And when I think of, guitars like this in that Les Paul category again, it makes me think of big, round, fat, bulky necks that I'm not gonna like. And as soon as I put my hand on this neck, I was like, wait a second. This is not huge. This is not fat. This is not bulky. In fact, it looks to be pretty darn thin. So guess what I did, guys? I got out my little digital pincher roller thingamabobber. I can't remember what it's called. I checked the thickness at the 1st fret and the 12th fret. 1st fret was a little bit under 21 millimeters. 12th fret, right about 22 millimeters. Now you're going, okay, but what does that mean? I don't know. Just to give you guys an idea, a comparison, when I have IYV make me my custom shred guitars. You know what thickness I do on the neck at those 2 points? First fret is 19 millimeters and the 12th fret is 20 millimeters. So this neck is barely thicker than the custom shred guitars that I have made. And you also have to take into account that there's a finish on the back of this neck, and on my shred guitars there's no finish. So that's one very important thing that makes this guitar very comfortable to play, especially for me. Now another factor is going to be the action. How high are the strings off that fretboard? And in this case, it is extremely low. And you can't get really low action unless those frets are very level. And in this case, they are. No, the frets are not like big jumbo frets. I didn't really expect them to be on a guitar like this. However, in my experience with IYV, they do very good fret work. I usually don't even level the frets on my custom builds. But when you factor in the fact, did I say fact twice? Factor in that Sean does a leveling just to get them even more perfect and then does a crown and a polish. He's got this action actually set lower than what I normally have on my guitars. So again, that makes it very playable and very shreddy, I guess you could say. So I've got a thin neck here, right? I've got really low action with top-notch fretwork. Well, what else? Well, we've got upper fret access here, which is just like perfect, phenomenal. And then the secret weapon to this whole thing are the 2 pickups. Okay, so we're talking about like, what do we need for a guitar to be a shred guitar? All right, so what did Sean say that he wanted me to tell you guys? I think I'm ready to tell you because I think at this point I can prove that that was false. Sean said, and I quote, "Bro, this ain't no shred guitar." And he told me to tell you guys that. He wanted me to tell you that this ain't no shred guitar. Excuse me. I literally just shredded on it and I just pointed out the thin neck, the excellent fretwork, and then we've got these high output Alnico 5 pickups that without that kind of like high output and these like really good sounding pickups, I can't get my sound. I can't get the sound that I need. First of all, to get the sustain when I'm holding the notes, to get those pinch harmonics, and those are like all the things that kind of like come together to make a guitar like, is it really shreddable? Is it shred worthy? And this one totally is. So sorry, Sean, I can't tell anybody that this ain't no shred guitar because I just don't think that's true. And what I fully believe about this guitar, guys, is that this guitar's not going to be pigeonholed into one category. Like, well, you're only going to want to play this guitar if you play classic rock. Or you're only going to want to use this guitar if you do like bro country or whatever. I don't think it deserves to be stuck in one category. This is pretty much a whatever guitar you need it to be. Now that's as far as the playability, the quality of the construction, the sound, how comfortable it is, all that kind of stuff. But you do have to factor in the image. What does it look like? Is this gonna fit with what I'm trying to do? Do I like the looks of it? And if there's one thing that I gotta be totally honest about, guys, is the guitar plays great. It's made phenomenally well. Sounds awesome. Totally shred worthy. But I'm not the biggest fan of the looks or the design of it. And you know, if I was getting ready to go out and do some gigs with my Yngwie Malmsteen cover band, it's probably not the guitar that I'm gonna be grabbing. Not that I have an Yngwie Malmsteen cover band, but you guys get my point. It's kind of just a little bit big and bulky looking for my taste. Again, just as far as the way it looks. Now, having said that, if you guys think that I'm done playing this guitar, oh, you would be wrong. If you're still here in the video, and I hope you are, I'm gonna play this guitar some more, a lot more. So what if we try this guitar, you know, not so much the hard rock 80s metal shred, but maybe a little bit just more like straight up like classic rock style. What's that gonna sound like? All right, now let's switch back over to a little bit more like metal. What's that sound like? Alrighty guys, if you have made it this far in the video, congratulations, because you are about to hear what I feel is gonna showcase the real magic from these pickups. And that is when I play it clean. Check it out. What did you think about that? That was pretty darn good, right? Yeah, I think you can really get the characteristics of the pickups when you've got it on that clean setting and you don't have the distortion kind of like covering up everything, and wow, just very crystal clear. Now, I am gonna demonstrate the difference between having the push pulls activated and not activated, and again, I'm gonna do it with a clean sample. Here we go. Alright guys, so bottom line on the Reaper here. The overall construction, the design, the build quality, all top notch. The setup is fantastic, the neck is comfortable, fretwork is great, the pickups, phenomenal. So major kudos to Kathy, Sean's wife, for doing a great job on doing these hand-wound pickups. I mean, seriously, wow. And again, if you want to make this a shred guitar, it is totally shreddable. You can do that if you want to. In fact, I could totally see somebody like Zakk Wylde playing this guitar, right? Look at all his wild guitars. Again, if we put guitars into broad categories, this would be in the same category as those guitars. And are we gonna say that Zakk Wylde is not a shredder? Oh, he is. And you know who else? This just came to me. Who else I could picture playing this guitar and it wouldn't look out of place at all? Neal Schon from Journey. And Neal Schon is an amazing player, including a shredder. But come on, look at all the different guitars he plays. He plays Les Pauls, Strats, PRS. He even had his own Schon guitars for a while. I could totally see him playing something like this. All right, now these sell for $699 in Sean's eBay store. So of course the question that comes up is like, well, is it worth 700 bucks? Well, you know, guys, that's an individual question. You know, it's like, would it be worth it to you if you spent $700 on a guitar that plays great, sounds fantastic, is built very well, basically has no issues, and if you're happy with the looks of it and you spent $700 on that, would you be happy with that? You know, for some people, spending $3,000 on a guitar, that's acceptable and they're happy with it. For other people, it's like, I don't want to spend over $200 on a guitar. I'm good with that. I'm happy with that. So it's an individual thing. All I can tell you guys is that, yeah, it's a nice guitar. It's well made, it's well set up, and it sounds good. But as far as like, is it worth that price? Well, that's up to you to decide. And guys, while this is my first scarred guitar, hopefully it's not my last. If you guys want to see me review another scarred guitar from Sean, let him know. Let him know that you want to see the Bald Shredder doing another scarred guitar, and we'll see if we can get him to send me another one. Alright guys, so I'm going to have links for all his stuff down in the description. I'm sure you know where his YouTube channel is. I'll put the link for that anyway, and I will have the link for his eBay store where I think there might even be one like this available. Alright guys, so that's it. As usual, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Quit your lip flapping and listen to me.